We're just gonna roll. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much. If you're new here, subscribe. Today we are going to be doing a Q&A all about like the influencer behind the scenes, earning, making money online kind of thing. I've got Chloe here with me.
Hi.
It's Chloe Muta, isn't it? Muta.
Yes, my first name's Chloe Rose.
Oh really? I thought your middle name.
It's a double barrel on it, yeah.
Okay.
Chloe Rose, and then...
I don't know who she is.
Who is this girl on
Nice
my
to
channel?
meet you.
Yeah, and then my last name's Muta.
Muta, love it. So all tags and handles and stuff will be below, but we are with the same management. We actually just did a part 1 video on Chloe's channel, so I will link that below, and we're gonna go straight into part 2 here. So if you do want to learn all about how we make money online, live a really good lifestyle, then keep on watching.
Yeah, find out all the goss.
All the goss.
So we did a Q&A on our stories and asked you guys to send in your questions of what you want to know. Like we said, we've already covered a lot on my video, on part 1, and then we're going to carry it on and answer the rest of the questions here.
Okay, shall I hit you with a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you ever worry about the long-term certainty of your career? I saw something very similar as well, which was, do you see the need for your job / industry continuing over time? So it's all about like the longevity of our career. How do you feel about that?
I feel like, do you know what it is? I feel like with our jobs, obviously, it's so different.
Sorry, you just kicked me.
I'm trying to get comfy here. You know what it is with our jobs? It's so different month to month. So it kind of can feel a little bit uncertain, right? It does have that uncertainty with it because you never know month to month how it's going to roll out. Obviously, you kind of have a longevity in terms of you might work with a brand over a long period of time, or you have like repeat business, or you know the content you're going to be putting out and affiliate marketing of how it's kind of going. So you can kind of track, but you're never going to know. There's never a
there's no guarantee.
There's no 9 to 5, there's no paycheck at the end of the month that's going to be the same.
No.
So there's no guarantee with it. So it always is feeling a little bit up in the air, isn't it? I feel like.
And we're self-employed, so we have to do our own accounting and taxes and absolutely everything. And it's like we both rent, don't we? So we have rental payments every single month, and you are guaranteed £0 every single month, which is kind of exciting. Keeps you thirsty and hungry. Not literally, just like makes you work. So that's kind of the short term. I think long term, and where's the industry going? I just see it becoming more and more of a bigger industry with bigger budgets 100%. And bigger brands, and more brands, especially like you were saying luxury in the last video, more luxury brands coming on and understanding the importance of influence marketing, which I think they were slightly, they didn't take to it as much as high street brands did. We're just hearing that, you know, more brands are putting their budgets towards vertical content, which is like our forte through Reels and TikTok and Instagram. Like YouTube ads have always been a thing, and I just think
it's just constantly changing. It's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing. When I first started, there wasn't even Instagram stories. Like,
I remember
it's just evolving all the time. There's always something new coming out. There's always something new you've got to keep on top of. So I feel like it's always going to be, it's going to continue. I feel like everyone's like, what happens if influencer industry just dies like one day? It's not going to happen. I feel like it's just going to continue to evolve.
On that though, really good point. I think it's important to diversify, so having several platforms, because you don't want to have, like, Instagram could have a Vine moment, and if your whole life and work and money and everything is all in Instagram, well, it's kind of like, well, shame on you, because you have to be, you can't just put your trust in one platform lasting forever, because nothing lasts forever and everything's always changing, which is why it's really important for us. We were just talking about, you know, Pinterest and TikTok and Reels and YouTube, and it's like you're spinning plates constantly.
Molly said it earlier, I was like, that is just the best way to put it. Like, I came in, didn't I? I was like, I've got this to do, that to do, I'm trying to keep up.
I know.
And then Molly's like, yeah, I was doing this with Pinterest. I'm like, how much can we do? But it is just trying to diversify yourself over a few platforms and just keeping up with what's going on. There's always changes. You've really got to keep on top of it. Sorry if there's loads of noise in the background, by the way. We're literally right next to
That's London, baby.
Yes. How do you deal with self-confidence when taking pictures and videos of yourself every day? I feel like that's a really good one.
Yes. I think I've got a whole video on this that I'll link up about my relationship with my body, so my relationship with how I look as well. And I just don't think, whilst I am kind of like an influencer and the way I look is important, it's not the thing that I bring to the world that creates value for other people. and I have so much more going for me than just the way I look. And I think coming from that kind of curve model, body positivity sort of background, I dealt with a lot of that when I was younger, / I was in a space that just really celebrated a curvier figure, and it was like, if you weren't curvy, you didn't get the job. And so many brands I used to go and see were just like, you're not big enough. And I almost had the opposite problem as I think the majority of women do. I felt like I had to be bigger rather than be smaller. So I come from a very bizarre place that always validated me being bigger. I feel like I've got a very solid body confidence kind of relationship.
Yeah, I really feel like you do, and it kind of shows through your content as well, which is so nice, and it's really liberating, I feel like, for women to see that. You cover that a lot in your content, which I think is so nice. I feel like you're never going to look perfect every day. Like, I feel like the whole...
Speak for yourself.
Definitely not today, when I came in like a hot sweaty mess. But I feel like you just have to take yourself aback. I feel like for me, when I kind of let that barrier down was when I started YouTube, and just showing yourself raw, no makeup. I remember when I did my whole video on my nose surgery, I literally showed myself at my absolute worst. Like, I'd just woken up from surgery, I was bruised, I had a massive cast on, and I just showed the whole progress because I just wanted to open up and be raw. And I think that's the best way to kind of get over that feeling of, you know, having to look good for pictures, having to look good for videos, and just kind of like you said, just be yourself and just know that what you're bringing to the table is good enough.
Yeah.
I've had anxiety over the years, you know, when you're constantly under a microscope, you're constantly in front of a camera or shooting, you do pick up so much more than you probably not normally would. And you do kind of start to maybe like nitpick. I mean, I'm just talking about myself on my point of view, and it has caused anxiety before, like, I just feel like I don't look good enough in that picture, so I don't want to post it. But then I feel like as you do it so much, you just kind of don't care in the end.
You become a bit numb to it.
That's it.
Just want to get the job done.
Yeah. And obviously you want to I take pride in my appearance. I want to make sure I look nice. I enjoy making myself look nice and feeling good. And I think it's just about how you actually feel really comes across.
I think that's really interesting for my audience to hear, because I will assume that most of my audience will be bigger than you. And in our heads sometimes, living a life as a size 8, you must just totally love your body and be completely carefree, and it's just not the way, because happiness doesn't exist at a size. It's not the case at all. I also think you can go to the place of, okay, well, I don't like my body, so how do I adapt my life to it? And you'll feel your life shrink and shrink and shrink until you can't do anything. You're totally debilitated by the way that you're perceiving yourself. Not only do people not care, but also you're at risk of changing your life based on how you look. And for me, that scares me way more than looking like not my best in a picture ever will, is losing out to life because of the way that I look.
I feel like girls these days, and even guys, it must be harder growing up with the world of social media and constantly comparing yourself.
Imagine growing up with TikTok.
Exactly, to these, you know, models and all of these things that you're seeing everywhere, like everyone looking perfect or photoshopped. You have to remember, sometimes it's not real. Like, I like the fact that now things are changing with the industry. Like, there's things more now with beauty that you're showing this actual real texture of your skin, not a Photoshop picture.
We're not allowed to use any filters, I feel, on any kind of skincare ads, and it's like, oh duh, that should have just been the standard from the get-go, but it wasn't.
You just have to get on with it, and I probably don't look my best, but that's just life.
But we've got deadlines. I'm just gonna get some more water. How do you keep a healthy balance between work/private life when your life is your brand?
I think this is like the hardest part of it. I feel like this is how I try and explain it to my friends, like, we are our job. So it really, I find it so hard to switch off, and it can be so unhealthy. Like, there's days where I've literally just broken down, like, I can't do this anymore, but you feel like you have to put yourself out there all the time because it is your job.
It's relentless.
It is.
It's very exhausting. I've cried quite a lot recently.
But I feel like you need to cry and let it out. Like I said to you, just let it all out. But
I think also, just on that, there are people who won't see being an influencer as a real job, and they won't get that. And it's like, everyone's jobs are stressful in different ways, and ours might be a little bit more first world problems, but they're still really stressful and emotional to us. And there's always the backdrop of the fact that we're self-employed, and if we will get out what we put in.
It's our biggest driver, isn't it?
Yeah. I find a time where I find it really difficult to disconnect, and I really hate the fact I can't turn off, is on holiday, because you've got such amazing backdrops. You're going to nice restaurants, like you've got, you know, the pool, just everything would look so good, but it's the one time where you really need to switch off. So I find a real, and I feel like a lot of us will go into a holiday thinking this is a content holiday, or this is a relaxed, no content holiday, and you kind of need to choose. And if you choose to go down the content route for your holiday, it's at a huge cost to you and probably your partner sometimes, because, you know, you get the odd eye roll when it's like, oh, can you just take a picture, or can we do that, all that sort of stuff. I don't feature my boyfriend on any of my channels, and he's like famously faceless, just because that's his preference, and I will respect that, and I quite like that. It's just like a little thing that you keep private. Yeah. But in contrast, when I was doing dating stories, everyone was obsessed with them, and they're amazing. I think they're so relatable, and everyone was like, thank you for documenting like the failures as well. I was like, well, it's 99% failure. So I really enjoyed showing that. But I do think you need to be respectful towards other people, and I'm happy to show pretty much anything. Like, we do sex toy ads, you know, I did a vaginal cream recently. Like, I talk about so much, so just let me keep a few things to myself, and actually those lie with the people whose right it is to have the privacy. So
see, I'm a bit different. So I actually show my like home life. Obviously I don't show everything, but Chris is featured in my content, and he's happy to do so. I feel like when we first got together, he really like was a bit rusty, he didn't really understand it, but now he's just so much more at ease with it, and he kind of like, I wouldn't say fully enjoys it, but he's like happy.
He's proud of you.
Yeah, and I think it's really nice. Like when we go on holiday and stuff, like he's happy to be in the vlogs, or like he'll help me to think of ideas with content and stuff. We're actually going to Paris this weekend, and I've actually had to set out days of work and when we can chill, because he's coming to help me shoot a lot of content, and I have a meeting out there, and I have work things that I'm going to do. But then I'm actually setting like one day where I feel like I just want to even leave my phone in the room, the hotel room, and just go out and be a bit of tourist and then just enjoy the day. So it's trying to decipher, like you said, like sometimes I just kind of want to have a holiday where I go away and not think about having to shoot or make it into work. So it's just trying to find the balance, and a really good healthy balance. And obviously there's so much that goes on behind doors that you're not always going to show.
Yeah, let's vlog an argument.
Yeah, like there's so much, but I think just me opening up, I feel like it gets you guys have a little bit more of insight, I guess.
Yeah, but then you've got to keep the boundary for yourself. So 100%. It's just a balancing act. So yeah, I think it's just about doing what you feel is right, and as a huge precursor to everything is that like the influencer industry is so young, and there is no right way to do anything, and so we're all like just making it up as we go along.
Top 5 do's and don'ts when starting off, and how to become paid as an influencer. So how do you get from that point of being an influencer and then being paid by brands as well, so making it into a business?
I think that's a really tricky question to answer, isn't it? How to get paid. Do you know the answer to that?
I think it has to be, or for me, how I started to become paid was I was working with these brands organically. I was working on a gifting basis, so which
still happens now. We still start a gifting relationship before we do paid.
Sometimes you can just start on a gifting basis. Either you reach out to them, you can be like, look, I really love your brand. I've been using or wearing or whatever the brand is for so long now. Here's X, Y, and Z of my content to prove this. I would love to start working with you. And then they might come back and say, yeah, that's great. Let's look into this. And they might have budget, or they might just want to start off on gifting, see how it works. But because brands are now tracking sort of the return on investment, they can kind of go off that. And also with our affiliate links, we can also provide background information on how much we can actually give value to the brand as well if we were to work with them and pitch ourselves. So I feel like working with brands, sorry, there's loads of sirens.
You talk about providing analytics to brands, which is really important. I think LTK is a great platform for that, because the analytics are so granular. You can then go to a brand and be like, this is what happens when I promote your product. Mine's slightly different, because I feel like you're so much more entrepreneurial than I am from that point of view, because you you did that from the ground up, whereas
I did it on my own.
I always had an agent, and so I've never actually sourced my own jobs before. I've always gone through an agent. So I just think it depends, but I think you will get a brand's attention if you're creating beautiful content. It has high engagement levels as a percentage of your audience. So you could have 10k followers, but if you're having like loads of engagement on that, then they would be interested.
I feel like so many people now aspire to be an influencer just for the paycheck, and it's like you've got to actually have passion there, really actually enjoy the products you're putting out and talking about before getting paid for it.
Yeah, and it always comes back to the thing of providing value for your audience and for the brand. And if you can do both of those things, then you'll get the attention from your audience, which is what the brand will pay you for.
Yeah.
So it's like
do you deserve the pay?
You can take all you want, but you have to be giving back. Like, what value are you creating?
And it's not going to happen overnight. Like, I worked so hard to get to where I was to start getting paid. I remember when I started getting paid, I was just like, wow, I can't believe this. This is so nice.
You're like, thank God.
Yeah.
It's finally starting to make sense.
Yeah. So it's not just something like, you're not just going to start an Instagram account, get a few followers, and then, you know, you might be lucky. But for me, I think it's just actually being true, honest to the brands that you work with and want to work with, and building that audience that actually trusts you.
Yeah, having an engaged audience is the most key thing, and then the brand partnerships will follow. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, you go.
What's the most common misconception about being an influencer?
I think it's that we all come from money, like you were saying before.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I think that's more like my plumbing accent than anything.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I went to a private school in Hampstead, so I'll just say that.
Okay, I definitely didn't go to a private school in Hampstead. I just went to a public school back in at the Midlands. And
when you say public school, because we would say public school's a private school.
Oh, so not private then?
State school. State. Do you mean? Like you don't pay a fee?
No, I didn't pay a fee. So yeah, I think a massive misconception is, I feel like there's such a taboo around influencers of like, we're stupid, like this kind of like ditzy.
Yeah, maybe a bit dumb blonde kind of thing.
And
we got lucky, it got handed to us.
Yeah, everything's like handed to us. We came from money, and I feel like
your parents have like funded it for the first few years, which meant that you didn't have to. And I come from like a really comfortable family, but I've always wanted to kind of do it on myself. I think that's really important. I think coming from money doesn't always benefit you. Sometimes it can really increase your laziness because you simply don't need to work. But I mean, I was doing like paper rounds was my first job. I was working in telesales centre for like 4 years and just really struggled for a huge amount of time. My 20s were, I'm still in my 20s just, but they were savage. It was like,
savage.
They were, it was such a difficult, tumultuous time. I had like telesales, I was getting rejected like nobody's business through modelling and dating. It was really, really, really tough. And I think I'm actually slightly older than a lot of the influencers now, who I guess a lot of them are kind of like early 20s, like mid-20s, and I'm 30 in a few months.
It's exciting though.
I know.
So it is meant to be a best year apparently.
I think that'll be good. But yeah, I think there's a lot of negativity around influencers. My dad was on the phone the other night, he's like, just be aware for a lot of backlash, because I'm seeing a lot of stuff on the news. Like, what on earth are you seeing? Especially in the pandemic, I think there was a lot.
Yeah, we're just under a microscope.
Yeah.
But I think the kind of misconceptions, and also maybe like the bitchy industry.
Yeah.
But actually, I feel like the industry now is becoming so much more empowering. Like yesterday, I went to an event and saw so many girls that I've like follow and I love, and I know personally, or like we've met before, and just seeing everyone in a room together, and it just feels uplifting. And working with other influencers in the industry, I mean, we met through the industry, and we've become friends from it. So I feel like there is kind of like this taboo thing that is so bitchy and maybe like
modelling is the same as well, and that was never the case. At least for plus size modelling, everyone was mates as well. And
I feel like now influencers, like, we help each other, right? Like we'll give each other advice. Like it's not kind of like, oh, you take this and I'll take that. It's just like, I feel like it's become a much more nicer industry to work in.
Yeah, we all want to help each other.
Yeah.
Which is important because we don't have a clue what we're doing.
So I think, that kind of covers it about the misconceptions, isn't it?
Can I go to the bathroom quickly, please? Drinking so much water. Okay, final question. What is the worst and best bit about your job? Do you want to go first?
You put yourself out there, And I feel like people then feel like they have the right to judge or tell you how you should like live your life, and just kind of like maybe a little bit of the negativity that can come with it. And it can sometimes, I feel like if you're having a bad day, it can sometimes affect you, and you can have 1,000 amazing comments, and maybe that one comment can really just touch your nerve. So you just have to learn to have a bit of a thick skin with it. So I think there is a little bit of a negativity in that aspect with our job. And there's just so many perks, there's so many great things I love about our job. And I think with that, I feel like for me, the best part that I love is that I run my own business. I don't have to answer to anyone. I love the freedom it brings me. I make my own schedules. I can go away when I want. I can do my job from anywhere in the world. So I just have such a freedom with it. And I feel like I always kind of knew I never wanted to work a 9 till 5. And when I was working a 9 to 5, I was so unhappy. I was like climbing the walls, making any excuse not to go into work. And I just knew I was to be my own boss. And I think it's so nice in this day and age that that is a thing that's happening. A lot of women are owning their and yeah, just I think that's the massive perk. There's so many perks to a job, so many things I love. I think for me the worst is that with maybe backlash, and also trying to find a healthy balance of work and life, because that for me is where I sometimes can get really worn down.
So my work is built around my life rather than my life being built around my work. And if we think about it, it's crazy that some people work like 12 hours a day for a big corporate and for somebody else, and to reach somebody else's goals and dreams and all that kind of stuff. And if like corporate is the way for you, which is for loads of people, that's absolutely fine. I just love the autonomy of having my own time, having my own freedom. Like the way it feels when I go out at 11 a.m. on a Monday to go and get myself a coffee if I'm not shooting that day, it's just the best thing ever. And I remember it was like the first kind of time I felt that freedom. I went to go to the pool in Shoreditch House in like the middle of the day.
Fancy.
It was really fancy, but I was doing telesales at the time and nobody knew, and I didn't have much money and all this kind of stuff. But it was just like, oh my goodness, I've got some freedom. And I think freedom is worth more than the checks at the end of the day. It really is. And yeah, you can stop when you want, you can start when you want. But then on the flip side, for me, that's the negative thing, is that like,
you don't know when to stop.
Yeah, you don't know when to stop. Sometimes you feel like you can't stop, because like just recently I felt like my engagement has dipped because I'm not on stories as much, but I wasn't on stories as much because I really just mentally didn't feel like I had much to offer and give, and I was just exhausted. And I think we can reach burnout.
I've been the exact same.
Quicker.
I was so burnt out that I actually got ill. Like I was,
your body. There's a really nice quote that's, if you don't make time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your illness. And I think that's so true. I think it's slightly easier to do that when you work for yourself rather than somebody else. But when you work for yourself, like I feel like sometimes I've just been a bit greedy, and I'm just like saying yes to all of the events and all of the ads and just everything. And it's like,
you just have to
it's just too much. I actually don't get that much hate, I would say.
I don't think it's hate. I think it's like, I mean, even if you don't receive it, I guess people are more judgmental. You didn't cook your eggs right today. And it's like, not today, Susan, I don't need the advice. Like, it's just like I wouldn't say that to somebody else. It's like, I feel like some people just feel like because you put yourself out there, they feel like they have the right to judge and criticize you.
That's the reason I went vegan. Too much critiquing on the eggs making. It's just ridiculous. And it solved all my problems.
Well, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel or Chloe's channel,
like and subscribe.
Do it. Just you're here, you might as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please ask any questions below in the comments box if there's anything that we've missed or anything you'd like to know. And yes, thank you very much for watching. I hope it was interesting, and maybe we will see you in the next video, because I really enjoyed that.
I feel like we should maybe do another kind of style like this. So if you did like it, let us know in our videos.
Yeah, we should do like a style fashion thing, because Chloe's size 8, I'm 18, so I think it's really interesting. But I'd say we've got similar styles. Anyway, before we go off on another tangent, we'll see you in the next video, and thank you so much for watching, and bye.